Hi guys. I haven't done one of these in a little while, and only really making it because I feel like I've recently had a lot of asks, anonymous asks and personal ones from you guys, which I never answer publicly because I think if you contact someone from your personal account, it's not anonymous and it's about really personal recovery stuff. I have asked people things publicly before that I wish they hadn't posted publicly. Anyway, there seems to be a lot of questions lately about the actual practical elements to um, recovery and how I initially got myself to eat and to get out of a sort of scary danger zone right at the beginning. And being so far into recovery, you feel really responsible in how you answer these things. And I hope that I haven't, upset anyone with my responses, because we all know that it's a really complicated issue. And a lot of the time, my responses, I'm worried that they seem quite simplistic and a bit not dismissive, but just like not saying just eat, but I think everybody's response to recovery is different. I came from a place where I wasn't forced into recovery. I'm an adult. I was 25 when I went and found help. And I've also been a teenager who was made to get help before I was ready. I was so desperate for recovery. I was so exhausted by my illness and my disorder that I had one of two options, and that was to either continue and this thing was going to kill me one way or another, whether it was tied to my depression and I, couldn't stand to be here any longer, or physically something worse than throwing up blood started to happen, which is the point I'd reached, or I could get better. And I knew what the reality of the disorder was, and getting better, even if it was worse, at least it was something different. And it was something that I hadn't tried yet. I tried everything: restricting, binging and purging. I used to cut when I was younger. There's been a lot of ways that I've tried to deal with pain and feeling like I needed to be in control. And none of them have worked. The one I hadn't tried was recovery. So I have responded by telling you guys that when I got to the point when I had to recover, I gave myself up to everything, whatever my GP told me to do, whatever my psychologist told me to do, even if that meant that I was eating the regular appointed meals that I had been told to eat. And even if I did that in tears or in total anxiety, I did it. I believed I didn't have any other choice but to do it, because this was sort of my last chance to get better. It was either this or I was going to die. That was it. So even if it meant doing everything that those people who knew better than I did, and I knew they knew better than I did, because I didn't know the difference between an apple and a piece of cake anymore. I didn't know what was better for me. I only knew what was easiest to get rid of. I think it's very, very different when somebody brings you help or forces you to get help, because you haven't reached that point of just total surrender. You haven't reached a point of, I can't keep doing this anymore. You are being given something that you really, really need. You need recovery, you need help, but maybe you haven't hit a point where you know how necessary it is yet. You're still in the grip of an eating disorder which has convinced you that it will keep you safe, that this is a method that works for you, that people are probably lying to you, that everybody does it, that it's completely normal, that this is just your way of coping. And I guess I struggle to advise you if that's your situation, because my advice is still the same. You need to trust that these people know better than you do, because they do. Your perspective, your view on things is very, very skewed, is very, very warped. And there has to be some element of just giving up to recovery. It is so painful. It's like having to, I don't know, it's like having a physical illness and somebody says to you, okay, in order for you to get over this, we need to like cut your chest open and take your heart out and put it back in the right way and then stitch you up and then everything's going to be amazing. Well, the amazing other side of that surgery sounds great, but the bit where they cut me open and take out my heart and relocate it and zip me back up, that sounds really fucking awful and quite painful. And I think I'll do anything that I can to avoid that. And this community is so important, especially people who are currently going through it, looking at people who have recovered, because I've had my chest cut open, I've had my heart taken out, I've had it twisted and turned and put back in and zipped back up. And it was really awful. It was really painful. And it was the best thing I ever did. Not only do I not want to die anymore, but I love my life. Nothing is really different. I haven't got any more. I haven't got more friends, I have more money, but that's because I was well enough to go after a job I really wanted, which I wouldn't have done 12 months ago. I don't physically have anything more than I did when I was sick, but now I can enjoy them and I can see them. I don't look at things from this negative, awful perspective anymore. So it might seem simplistic to just say you have to fight so hard against that voice and you have to completely surrender to the people who know better than you do, who are not telling you these things because they want you to be fat or they want you to be unhappy. They're doing these things to save your life. And even if you don't know that your life is in danger at this point, if somebody who is, accredited to tell you whether or not your life is in danger is telling you your life is in danger, I would trust them more than this absolute asshole of an imposter who is telling you things that will seem so insane when you get out the other side. My suggestion is talk to people who have recovered, talk to people who have been through it. All of our experiences are different. My experience will be different from yours. My method may not work for you. You might not be at the same point that I was at, but I just had to give up. I had to give up because giving up the eating disorder seemed far less daunting than giving up my life. And at that point, they were the two options I had. I couldn't have lasted much longer with the eating disorder. So please keep talking to me about your recovery, about what you're struggling with, and talk to other people who are out the other side. Because even if I can't give you solid methods to get you to a point where you're comfortable with eating or with talking kindly to yourself, at least when you talk to people who have gone through recovery and are out the other side, they're a touchstone. Like I had touchstones here, people who were 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 10 years into recovery, who had similar stories, totally different stories to me. The one thing we all have in common is that the voices in our heads are lying to us. And with enough practice, with enough commitment, you start to recognize what the lies are and your voice gets louder. Your voice comes back, that voice of reason, that kind, loving voice that wants you to be well and be happy. That is you, not the disorder. The disorder voice is not you. That's what we have in common. We're all battling this asshole in our head, and there are methods to quieten it down and bring yourself back to the front, or the forefront. So use Tumblr as a resource, as a motivation, as a reminder that whatever your story is, wherever you are in recovery, we've all been there. And I would not go back for anything. No sum of money, no exchange, nothing. I'd do all that hard, gut-wrenching, open heart surgery metaphor work again. Anyway, Much love, you guys. Take care. Be kind to yourselves. And yeah, just keep going. Okay, much love. Bye.